Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so the Los Angeles Lakers are playing Game 2 tonight at Crypto.com Arena against the Rockets. That game's at 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern, also known as 7:46, 7:42, somewhere in there. Yeah, because you know that game ain't gonna start on time. Never, not in this building. So yeah, that's to be expected. What's going on with the injury report? Kevin Durant's game time decision. I don't expect they'll tell us anytime soon what's up with Kevin Durant. But of course, Steven Adams out for the season. Fred VanVleet out as well, not for the season. So I don't really know what to expect from Fred VanVleet, other than to say that I haven't seen him warming up or anything. But I think it's suspicious, very suspicious, that they have not ruled him out for the season. I don't like that. Austin Reeves is out, Luka Doncic is out, and no one else is on the injury report for the Lakers, so we're very excited about just how healthy we are. I'm not sure if that's something I can say with a whole lot of confidence, but we are as healthy as we're going to get for right now. We saw Austin shooting some free throws yesterday. Luka was in full warm-up gear, so those guys are, trying to put it out there that they're working their way back. And I think we're playing for that. We're playing for an opportunity to extend the series so that the hope that those guys can play in a Game 6 or a Game 7 can be real for us. I think that's kind of how you approach every game, so that you meet the natural urgency with a bit more intensity. Natural urgency of a playoff game, of course, you're trying to hold on to home court. You won the first game. Kevin Durant did not play, so we did what we were supposed to do. We didn't see the Rockets that they were capable of being because they were missing Kevin. And Kevin is a big portion of what it is that they do on both sides of the floor. If he's not able to go, I will expect that the Los Angeles Lakers will see this as yet another opportunity to take advantage of a team that's just as hobbled as us, if not more so, given how they're constructed. One of the things that I had a problem with the Lakers about 4 years ago, 3 years ago, and I asked us to fix, was when Bron or AD was out, our team didn't appear to have pieces that could function with one another without them. You remove those two pieces, and everything that we had in rotation was pretty much complementary to their pieces solely. I think Rob Pelinka has done a very good job of turning that around to assure that the pieces that he has in place can function with all the elements of basketball without the stars. They may not beat anybody, but they should be able to run a very solid pickup game based on everybody in place being able to do all of the jobs necessary for basketball to be run properly. And so without Luka and Austin, if we have everybody else, we can still run a basketball game in the NBA. And we showed that in the last several games that we've played. We've won a 3-game winning streak, or was it a 4-game winning streak at this point? Albeit against bad talent at the end of the season. But we've seen success at this level without our stars. And going into the playoffs, that we were able to win Game 1 in that same fashion is pretty much what we come to expect from this unit. And now that we got Marcus Smart back, for which half of those games that we won prior to the season ending, with that being the case, we didn't have him for, you feel like he's even more capable of running a cohesive basketball game out there. So I think the Rockets are at a disadvantage because they're not constructed that way. They don't have all the elements in place to function without their stars. They needed Kevin Durant and Fred VanVleet to be in place in order for that team to look like an NBA squad, to do all the things necessary to win an NBA basketball game. And without those pieces, they just don't have those things. And so I think that even with Kevin Durant, they're still at that same disadvantage because they don't have the Fred VanVleet point guard facilitator piece anywhere. So they're counting on one another to kind of make up for that. And those are not those players' strengths, and it exploits their weaknesses. And most importantly, a lot of those guys would be further activated by having that Fred VanVleet's point guard piece in place. I'm telling you, if they were to have put a point guard on this roster, even if that point guard wasn't at the super high level, just somebody who specializes in assists, it would activate their team, and they would get more out of everybody that they're using right now. So guys like Alperen Sengun look worse. You know, Tari, even though he had a fantastic game in game one, in theory shouldn't look his best. Eamon Thompson isn't activated fully, etc. They just don't have somebody who's going to get everybody involved. You add Josh Giddey to this Rockets team right now, we're in trouble because he's going to get everybody involved. You know, that kind of thing. He's going to make sure that they're activated. And so without that piece, I think the Lakers have a very good chance of winning every game against this Rockets team. It doesn't mean that we're going to win every game because we are without our stars, and that means we're relying on role players who are not supposed to be playing at this level, who are not supposed to be taking on this level of defense night in, night out. So it is a thing where you still won't be overly surprised if the Lakers aren't able to win, but we're constructed to be able to without our stars. They are not. And so, as we go into this basketball game, I expect the Lakers to fully put on a cohesive basketball game, just like they did in the first game. We shot very well in that first game. I don't expect that we would shoot as well as we did. They shot very poorly in that first game. I'm not so sure they won't shoot that poorly again, but I wouldn't count on it. But they're more likely to shoot poorly than we are to shoot as good as we did, in my opinion. We just couldn't miss. Luke Kennard didn't miss. We shot 61% from the field, 53% from the three. That's not something that you would expect to duplicate. And then from there, they shot 33% from three. It's possible that happens again. And they shot 38% from the field. I definitely do not expect for them to shoot that poorly from the field anymore in this series. With that being said, they had 21 offensive rebounds, which is natural for that many misses and an offensive rebounding team that's gifted. They are a elite offensive rebounding team. Is in fact one of the best. So you're not gonna have more offensive rebounds than them anyway. But if you're making all your shots and they're missing all their shots, then of course it's going to be a strange offensive rebounds differential. We only had 3 offensive rebounds. That's not good. Even for us shooting 61% from the field and 53% from three, you still don't want only 3 offensive rebounds. We have got to crash the defensive glass significantly better than we did in the first game if we want to have success anymore in this series. If we continue to get out-rebounded to that degree, I don't expect for us to win another game in this series. We have got to crash the glass. I'm just being honest, because they're too good of a rebounding team. They shot too poorly. We shot too good. That's just not something you're going to expect to ever happen again. So you have to close the gap on that by securing some of those boards. And that means guys just gotta step outside of themselves and be better in that regard. Rui Hachimura must rebound more than 2 times tonight. He had 2 boards, that's not going to cut it. He had 5 stocks, we love that. Hit most of the shots, that's cool. But if you're going to be out there for 42 minutes and you're only pulling down 2 boards, that's part of why that differential looks as terrible as it did. Marcus Smart, same thing. 2 boards, even though you're a point guard, I know you can rebound better than that. You have to rebound better than that. LeBron James had 8 boards. I need him to get 10, 12. You know what I mean? He's going to have to rebound hard against his team. Vando pulled down 5. That's cool. It has to be more if you're going to be out there. Jake LaRavia, 2 boards, not enough. Jackson Hayes, 1 board. You better rebound better than that. Ayton gave us 11, and that's good. But nobody else, him and LeBron were the only 2 people that rebounded reasonably that night. And tonight they need to be better as a unit. They must. They must. And this is why I think Adu Thero should be out there, because he's physically more capable of pulling down boards against those quick twitch physical players than some of the guys we're asking to play. I know he hasn't groomed Adu to play much this season, and I don't expect that he will play him now, but if you want answers for your rebounding circumstances, in theory, Adu's your best bet off of what it is we got. Nick Smith, Dalton Connect's a good rebounder as well, but do you trust him in other areas? He did it in the season well, but his confidence level is not to be relied upon at this point. But if I'm going to imagine somebody off of that bench who in theory should be able to pull down boards, Dalton Connect's a very good rebounder. Even when he's not shooting well, even when he's not taking care of the basketball, I can count on him to get boards. So if you're looking for answers, those 2 players I think could be reasonable. Maxi Kleber's obviously somebody you consider as well, especially when you're talking about going up against Clint Capella. This is a series where you might get a little more out of Maxi Kleber than maybe you would have in some of those other matches where we were using Maxi Kleber, as I was very critical of us using Maxi Kleber against certain units that had young forwards. a unit that has older guys and big kind of bruiser guys, it may not be the worst idea to insert Maxey into the lineup for this series. And that's the question I have for Coach JJ. Looking at your rotation, obviously expecting you to shrink your bench, who's going to be your ninth guy? Bronny James got 4 minutes, turned the ball over, you set him down. Jackson Hayes, Jake LaRavia, and Vanderbilt are who you're using. Everybody else is pretty much your starters. If game one is any indicator of what he's going to do going forward, I'm curious to see if he's going to replace Bronny James with Maxi Kleber, Nick Smith, Adu Thiro, Dalton Knecht. Because I don't know that Bronny James is much for this series. I don't know if I trust him from a decision-making standpoint or shooting standpoint to really be ready to go right now, if I'm being completely honest with you. If I had a choice, I do not believe he would be my ninth guy in this rotation if I'm shrinking my bench. Now, y'all know I don't believe in shrinking my bench at all. But if I'm to think that what comes from doing so allows for my shooters and my starters to stay in a greater rhythm, then that's if I'm to subscribe to that, then I must pick somebody to be my ninth guy. And for me, I think that ninth person will probably be Maxi Kleber if I'm thinking along the lines of what I think Coach would be safe with. Because, like I said, Adu, if we were preparing him all season long for this, I would feel confident. But at this point, I understand why nobody would put him out there. Although, physically, he is probably your best choice. Physically, based on his strengths and what he can do, he is your best choice. But that's not something we're going to, you haven't prepared him for that. Dalton Knecht, I would love to trust Dalton Knecht, but I'm far from trusting Dalton Knecht. I don't trust him at all. I just don't think his head is where it needs to be to be ready. I can't trust his confidence. He hasn't earned my trust at all at this point. And then Nick Smith is a guard that's a ball handler. I believe that he can help me a lot, but I also think that the variance between him playing well and not playing well could be a little more of a risk than what I would want to take in a series like this. And it's not like I need what he does more than anything else. If I did, then I would lean into him. But what I need is a big. I think Jackson Hayes is pretty much played off the floor in this series. He's just a little too small. You don't have Luka out there to activate him. Picks up fouls quickly in a series like this. It's just not. This is not the series for Jackson in theory. I expect if we do use him, he might have a good game here and there since he's having a fantastic season. But this is one of them situations where it's like, all right, what else? What else can I do? Because he's gonna get played off the floor by these bigs, Clint Capella and Sengun. They're just too big for him, man. They're gonna push him around. Ayton, am I gonna get this out of Ayton every night? Because I really believe that we're heavily relying upon Ayton being consistent. You gave us 19 and 11 on 8 of 10 from the field. That's just not what you can expect from Ayton every night. If he falls off a cliff, who can I turn to at the center position that can hold up? And I think the answer is Maxi Kleber. So I think Coach will probably make that decision, especially if something goes wrong tonight. We lose this game, and it's because Ayton goes 6-6. I think that we'll see a lot more Jackson, Maxi Kleber going forward. That's what I'm trying to say. The Lakers got to hit their free throws. This unit has to hit their free throws. We saw some missed free throws for some people that we didn't expect. Luke Kennard missed 2 free throws in this one. Marcus Smart missed 4. LeBron missed both his free throws, only got there twice. That cannot. No, we got to hit our free throws, man. As a unit, we have to hit our free throws. I like the 18 minutes for Jake LaRavia and Vanderbilt. I think that's a worthy thing for us out there, especially if Kevin Durant ain't out there. We're not heavily reliant on scoring, but more so 50-50 ball winning and defensive stuff. This is a series for Jake LaRavia and Vanderbilt, and that's another reason why I think Maxi Kleber may be called upon, because he's another one of those guys. He's not going to give you a lot of scoring, but when he's in his energetic bag, he's pretty much he's a center banshee, basically. And so if we utilize him for that, I think we can get that stuff out of him. This is not a series that I expect to get much scoring out of my bench, and this is not a series where I think I need to, because their bench is trash in that regard, in every regard, but especially in that regard. They're just not going to give us much scoring against us, with the exception of Tari Eason, who shot very well. I don't expect Tari Eason to go 7 for 7 again. 16 points, 10 rebounds. He ain't going to be that efficient again. 3 steals, 1 turnover. That's the best game that they're probably going to get out of Tari Eason. He'll probably score more, but he'll be significantly less efficient. I expect them turnovers to go up. And so without him, where are they getting their bench points from? Obviously, Reed Shepherd is a fantastic bench player, but as long as KD's out, I expect him to start. And even when KD comes back, he's probably going to start. So is it Josh Okogie that moves to the bench? What do you give them? 7 points, 1 assist, 2 steals? Nah, their benches, you can get away, in theory, with not having a very strong scoring bench, because I think you can get away with scoring 115 points a night and winning this series. I think you can get away with it. Now, they're going to be nights. We've seen this as you look back in the past with the Houston Rockets. They've had nights where they scored a lot. You know what I mean? And this usually comes from a big scoring night from somebody you don't expect to see score huge. Back on 4-3, they dropped 140 on the Jazz. Back on 329, they dropped 134 on the Pelicans. So it's not, against the Bulls, they dropped 124. So they can score some, It's not like they're solely deficient. But more than not, you're going to see scores of 105. The first Laker game, they scored 92 points in the regular season when we went to their house a couple weeks ago. 106 in a win against the Blazers. 105 points against the Heat. So it becomes a situation, and that Heat game, they didn't really have all their guys out there. But that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is this is not a team you expect to score a whole lot. 109 against the Memphis Grizzlies, 108 against the Minnesota Timberwolves. So they have some 119 game against the Bucks, 119 there, 117 in a win against the Warriors. So, that's what they're going to hover around. 119 against the Suns, 113. They're not. You can win the series if you score 115 points a night. You can win the series. Especially if Kevin Durant's going to be hobbled or not available, you can definitely win the series scoring that much. So with that being said, I'm not really looking to shift into my high scoring bag. It might help if I can just run up the score to 150. They may not be able to keep up. But the reality is, if you do that, there's a potential that your defense isn't able to slow down the pace, and then they're going to score more just off the strength of that. You push the pace, they'll keep up with you. You can't underestimate Amen Thompson. That's the next thing I want to say. You cannot underestimate Amen Thompson. Amen Thompson is one of the most elite athletes we've ever seen on both sides of the floor. He can do amazing things. And I expect for him to take it upon himself to try to turn defense into offense, trying to force us into turnovers and using his fast break ability to get to the line and draw and ones. That's something I would tell us to look out for. At some point in time, they're going to understand that their best offense is their defense. The Rockets' best offense is their defense. They don't have a half-court offense. They don't have a setup guy. So what they need to be able to do is get out and transition and run. What we need to do is ensure that they can't do that. And another thing that's obviously a great offense for them is putbacks on offensive rebounds. Pulling it down, second chance opportunities, broken plays if they can find a shooter like Reed Shepherd or Kevin Durant in the case he comes back and knock it down. If Tari Eason continues to shoot like this, he probably gives them that option as well. But outside of that, they don't really have a good half-court situation, especially if Ayton can stand tall and not foul against Sengun. Because Sengun's inefficiencies as of late have been uncharacteristic. And I think that, he's probably in a little bit of a slump. He may not be 100% healthy. I don't know what's going on with Sengun, but he looked terrible against us. I would imagine he and Amen Thompson are going to try to play better in the areas that they can control, try to overpower everybody on the floor, and try to be the best 2 players on the floor tonight. If they're doing things correctly, that's going to be the mentality. They can't have a night where Alpi has 6 turnovers and only 10 points, 15, 20 points. It's not enough. If Alpi goes for 35 tonight, I would not be surprised, and I would expect the Rockets to win if we let that happen. That's the thing. I'm waiting for the big Alpi triple-double, 32, 33-point game. If that game comes, I don't know that we can stop them if he's going to start playing better. But as long as he's playing like this, where he's highly inefficient, 6 of 14, 6 of 16, that type of stuff, we can beat them as long as he's that bad, in my opinion. But that's really what it comes down to. They're really heavily relying on those two players playing their best, and their team's not constructed to get the most out of them right now. So it's a real bad look, and their offense is going to struggle unless they turn their defense into offense. We need to be prepared for that. They are desperate at this point because they understand that they're playing a series where even though we're missing our best two players, we're more healthy than them. Just in general, we're more healthy. I know that sounds strange, but when you talk about Fred being out for the season, you know, KD obviously with the knee, Steven Adams, huge part of what they do, and then half of that roster not being something that they trust. They're not, they didn't use Dodo in the first game. They didn't use Aaron Holiday at all. They don't really trust them people. It becomes a situation where they know they need to win game 2. They need to leave out of LA with the split. They probably feel very confident they can get one or both at home. But if they go down 0-2, they're in some real trouble. They know that. So the urgency for us is not just looking at it as to get greedy, but to understand that the most likely path to us being able to force a game 6 is us winning the first 2 games at home. Now, of course, we would love to sweep them or beat them in 5, but the idea is we're missing our 2 stars, and they may be available for game 6 or 7. So what our good job should be is to get the split at home and get the split on the road. But you may not be able to get the split on the road, so you have to take care of home at this point, knowing that you got the first game at home. You have to have an urgency to say, with us being as shorthanded as we are, there's no guarantee we're going to go into that hostile environment where they have all the confidence, where their role players going to be hitting shots, where our role players may not play well. LaRavia may not play well there. Kennard may not play well there. Ayton may not play well there. Vando may not play well there. We need to be absolutely desperate tonight to understand what the look ahead is for us. Because if we lose this game and then they win the next 2, we're out of here pretty much. And so it's like because we're lacking our stars, should have a certain, especially certain desperation about putting a stranglehold on this series, more so than most circumstances where the home team wins the first game. We should be one of the most desperate winning home team that have ever been in the playoffs, because we understand that we are not favored to win this series, but we are in a position to where we can start swaying the favor in our direction if we are able to take game 2. Because now if you take game 2, even if you lose the next 2 games, you've at least secured yourself a game 6. And if Luka or Austin or both of them are able to play in that game 6, you know that may be just enough to end the Rockets right there. So for us, especially if KD is not healthy right now and he don't play tonight, there's no way to really know, but you can only get more healthy as the series progresses if you're KD. Especially if he's going to sit tonight. If he comes back in game 3, let's say they win this game tonight. It's a split. He comes back in game 3. He's only going to get healthier from here. That's all it is. So by game 6, game 7, he's going to look like real KD and you're in trouble. So we got to secure the wins that he's not available, and or the games where he's in minutes restriction, and or the games where he's just not going to play well because that knee's bothering him. I think the Rockets, I'm not trying to help the Rockets, but there's a nugget in what I'm saying that I think is important. KD's knee is what it is. If he's going to play, he's at his own risk. You know what I'm saying? It's playoff time. You know what I'm saying? You play at your own risk. If that knee ain't right and you go out there, you play at your own risk. And I say the same thing to Luka and Austin when they come back. It's playoff time, buddy. People know you hurt. Play at your own risk. That's about all I'm going to say about that. We have a certain desperation about us, And we need to win this basketball game. If we're looking at things clearly, if we're seeing the forest for the trees, we are not smelling our upper lip because we won game 1. It is very possible that you don't win another game in this series because you don't have Austin and Luka and you're relying upon role players. So while you can win, especially if KD's out or whether he's, while he's not well, you really need to be securing those wins. You really, really need to be capturing those victories, especially the home wins. So this is us taking care of home court. This is us securing ourselves a game 6. That's how I'm looking at this. That's how I'm looking at this. And if for some reason in our desperation we happen to secure victory after victory after victory, even better. But the goal is to survive and buy time. I think the urgency, if met, could potentially beat a hobbled Rockets team, especially if KD's going to continue to miss games. But that's the mentality. Our mentality ain't let's sweep them. Our mentality ain't let's take care of home court. Our mentality is let's buy time. Because the more time we buy, the more likely we can take this series. But if we start dropping games now, go back to the Rockets, drop games, lose our confidence, going into a game 4 situation where we've been playing bad for the last 2 games, it starts becoming further and further real that we are likely to lose the series just off the strength of Luka and Austin not being out there. So please meet the urgency of the moment. The urgency is not to dominate. It's to respect that you may not be able to dominate so as to be absolutely and utterly desperate. And if you meet the urgency of that desperation and you feel like you're already down 3-1 in this series and you need to win in order to secure that, you'll be able to beat them. But it's going to require you psych yourself into thinking, I'm already down 3-1. Every game's a game 7 because we don't have our best players. Every game's a game 7 because if we give up this game, we may not get home court advantage back. That's the mentality. That's how you meet the urgency, man. You got to psych yourself out. You know what I mean? Because this whole, we're up 1-0. You're up 1-0 without Luka and Austin. You know what I'm saying? You're not up 1-0. You are in a position to where you can extend the series, and that's exactly how you need to be looking at it. You're down 3-1. You better stay alive. That's how I'm looking at this. No other urgency is acceptable when you're missing your best players. No other urgency is acceptable. So that's really what it is, man. It's playoff time. It's playoff time. We got the toughest path to a championship of maybe anybody in the entire NBA right now. I can't think of a team that's in a more of a crosshairs of losing than us. Without our best players, and then have OKC to see in the second round if we do win the series. Nobody has a tougher path. So we need to be urgent every damn night. We need to feel like we're in a game 7 every damn night, or we're going to be going home soon. And that's really what it is. It ain't no 2 ways about it. I've been watching basketball my whole life. Desperation and urgency is what saves your backside in these situations. Because like last season we saw against the Minnesota Timberwolves, you let your hair down thinking it's cool, you're going to be out of here in 5. Straight up. We learned that lesson last year, JJ. We need not make that mistake again. The urgency is every damn game's a game 7. We fighting for our lives every single night. And if we're not doing that, then we're probably losing our lives soon. So that's how I'm looking at it, man. I'm ready, man. I'm ready for game 2. And, I was encouraged by what I saw in game 1, but I don't think any of that's replicable. So you got to find another way to win. You got to take care of the basketball. You got to rebound the basketball. You got to hit your free throws. You got to play better defense. All the things that we didn't do well in that first game, we need to do well in game 2 because we ain't going to shoot no 61% from the field, 53% from 3. And they ain't going to shoot no 38% from the field, 33% from 3. There ain't none of that about to happen no more. So get that out your mind right now. They are still favored to win this series, and rightfully so. Because that's how much talent we're missing. So we need to be urgent. Absolutely urgent. And so that's what I'm coming in here with, man. We ain't smelling our upper lip at all. We ain't feeling like we about to win nothing at all unless we meet the urgency necessary. Anything less than that would be probably a failure on our end. So as we go into this game, the Lakers are going to be wearing black tonight. I checked last night. So we'll have an alternate floor for the playoff game. That should be cool. And then the Rockets going to be wearing white on our home floor for this particular matchup. And as I said, that game's at 7:30. Projected starters for the Rockets: Reed Shepard, Amen Thompson, Kevin Durant, Jabari Smith, Alfred Sengun. For the Lakers: Marcus Smart, Luke Kennard, LeBron James, Rui Hachimura, and DeAndre Ayton. Steven Adams, Kevin Durant, and Fred VanVleet on the injury report. Steven and Fred out. Kevin, game time decision. Luka and Austin still out, as we already know. So that's what's going on, man. Urgency. It's all about urgency. I really am not interested in no cockiness, no, relaxation. People, feeling like because they won game one, they expected to win the series. I'm listening to ESPN, set up for that failure. I'm not rolling with none of that. All of that's bull crap, bro. We missing Austin and Luka. You know what I'm saying? We need to be absolutely desperate. We need to feel like we're not the better team, because we're not, so long as those two players are out. And believing otherwise is fool's gold. Absolute fool's gold, man. So, desperation for Marcus Smart. Luke Kennard, continue to shoot the way you've been shooting. LeBron James, make your free throws. Keep believing that playing the role you're playing gives our best selves a chance to be displayed out there. Rui Hachimura and Luke Kennard need to be our main scorers out there. DeAndre Ayton as well. We need that efficiency from Ayton. Any disappearing act from Ayton is a death blow to the Lakers. At this point, we are highly relying upon him playing well and staying out of foul trouble. So, I tell him, you may not feel like you that guy, but we sure as hell need that guy to feel like he's that guy. Because right now, while our two players are out, you're the only thing standing between us and Alfred Sengun sending us home, straight up. And with Alfred playing poorly in this last game, he is too damn good for this. People calling him like he sucks. People saying he sucks. That's bull crap. I'll tell you right now, Alfred Sengun does not suck. He may not be playing well, but this is an elite center in this league. And if you don't respect him, he will quickly show you why you should have. And I'm already ahead of that. I ain't surprised when Alfie goes for 35, 10, and 12. No turnovers, because he's capable of that. Is that what you're going to expect him to do right now? That's not the rhythm he's in. But do not play him like he ain't good, man. That is stupid. That is highly stupid and dangerous for us. You need to respect that star level player, whether KD out there or not. So that's what I'm telling us, man. Urgency. Hand up behind Reed Shepard. Don't leave him out there, man. He's attempted, 14 threes, something like that in the last game? Don't leave him out there. Reed Shepard can knock you out on both sides of the floor. He's an excellent stealer of the ball, and he's a fantastic shooter. He's not an assist guy. They need him to become one. Hopefully he doesn't figure it out in this series. But, for the time being, you need to respect him from behind the arc. Don't leave him out there like that. Respect it if they play Dodo. He's going to want to beat us, especially on this floor. He's going to shoot well. He's going to defend well. I don't know why they're not using him. But if they decide to use him, we probably give him a better chance of winning. Little things like that, man. We don't want no bull crap tonight. Rebounding the ball, taking care of the basketball. Turnovers is everything. Because if we're not turning the ball over, they're not going to be able to score enough to beat us. That's what it really comes down to. We're going to connect on enough shots with our high-efficient shooters, and they're going to struggle enough in their half-court offense to where they're just not going to keep up. They need us to turn the ball over. Okay? They need us to. In my opinion, they need us to turn the ball over. Otherwise, in theory, they're going to struggle to score. So that's really what it comes down to, man. Be ready for game 2. I ain't asking for much. But I ask this be true, that LeBron and the Lakers be ready for game 2. BDL 44. I thank you for watching. I'm out.